Welcome to the second video of the Biocides tool tutorial series, this time on data entry. In this video, we'll walk through the essential steps for entering data correctly so you can run your risk assessment smoothly. Start by creating a new project. Each project represents a session for one biocidal product. Give your project a clear name that allows you to easily recognize it. No user input is needed for application type. To save the project, a green Save Session button appears on all screens of all subsections after a minimum set of data is entered. A project can be saved only if at least the identification of one active substance and one use is inputted. The tool doesn't store data online. Instead, it can save the data on your computer. I will show you how the saving works once we'll proceed through the identification of active substances and uses. To continue working on the project after break, you would need to upload your save session using the Upload Product field. Next, enter details for the active substances in your product. Biocides can handle biocide product containing multiple active substances, providing a risk assessment for each one of them, as well as a mixtures risk assessment. In the proportion of the active substance in the biocidal product field, you are not required to input the active substance content in the overall biocidal product, but to express the fraction of each active substance in relation to the overall amount of all active substances. The sum of the fractions should always be equal to 1. That is, also when a product contains one active substance, then the proportion of the active substance in the biocidal product needs to be made equal to 1. After specifying the requested fields, to save an active substance or to specify multiple ones, click the Add button. Next, I will show how to enter information if there are more than one active substances in the product. The proportion must add up to 1, otherwise the tool won't let you proceed. For some sources of exposure, metabolite assessment is needed. For these sources of exposure, this is initially covered by metabolite screening, which is displayed in section Risk Assessment Tier 1. If the risk at metabolite screening is not acceptable, risk assessment for specific metabolite needs to be performed. In that case, if your product has relevant metabolites, define them here in the metabolite subsection. If no, leave this subsection blank. As long as no information is provided on specific metabolites in this subsection, metabolite screening remains to be displayed for the relevant sources of exposure under the risk assessment section. To provide information on identified metabolites, first fill in the first table, which has as many rows as there are active substances specified in the biocidal product. In this first table, you are supposed to indicate how many metabolites the tool should consider for each active substance contained in the biocidal product. Typing in the appropriate number of metabolites for each active substance will have an effect on the second table, in which the number of rows will correspond to the sum of the metabolites for each active substance. The second table is intended for filling in information concerning each metabolite. For each metabolite, you need to provide the name of the metabolite, the fraction of total radioactive residue, or FTRR, expressed as a percentage, the maximum concentration at which the metabolite was found, expressed as milligram equivalents per kilogram. Note that this parameter is not relevant for soil metabolites pertinent for application of manure or sludge from animal housing and compost from composting sites. The molecular mass, And finally, you need to indicate the matrix in which the metabolite is formed. This last descriptor comes from the EKB guidance, which suggests that for certain sources of exposure, metabolites found in plants should be considered, while for the source of exposure called application of manure or sludge from animal housing and compost from composting sites, metabolites formed in soil may be considered. Once you have filled in all of the information, press on Save button. Now you can proceed with defining the uses of your product. This is a 3-step process. In step 1, you are requested to select from the drop-down menu in the dialog line all the sources of exposure for which at least one use of the product is intended. Once the sources of exposure are selected, the tool will automatically build a table in which each row corresponds to one source of exposure. The only input needed at this stage is of how many uses per each source of exposure are to be assessed in the column number of use cases. After that, you need to click on Create Update Use Cases button. The details of each use can now be specified in the newly generated table. Each use specified in step 1 and 2 receives a progressive label, for instance, use 1, use 2, and so on. That cannot be modified. In the newly generated table, you are required to fill in details like vegetation or object treated, application rate, total number of applications, spray direction, and interval between applications. You need to ensure that all cells are filled in. The gray cells report the defaults that cannot be overwritten, but the orange cells, on the other hand, represent defaults which can be overwritten by the user if needed. Use the Restore Default Values button if needed. Once the table has been completed, that is, each cell is filled in, the Save button at the bottom right corner becomes active and you can save the table by clicking this button. As mentioned earlier, when at least one active substance and one use for the assessed product have been identified, a green Save Session button appears at the top of all screens of all subsections. As this has been fulfilled now, the Save Session button is visible. As said, the tool doesn't store data online, so you need to save your session to your computer. This happens in a zip file format. The automatic naming of projects includes the name of the project as given by the user, the date, the time, and the version of the tool used when saving, all in one string. Replacing the last 2 characters with those mirroring the version of the tool currently online will allow you to upload a project saved using an older version, unless the new version includes important structural changes. That's it for Data Entry Essentials. In the next video, we'll cover how to upload and manage toxicity data.